Have you ever purchased a new watch and had difficulty figuring out how to change the time? Or, maybe you realized later that you can also use it as a stopwatch? Issues like these are related to the learnability of the product. What is learnability? Learnability is an important part of the user interface of a product, and specifically focuses on how easily and quickly people can learn to use it efficiently. When is a product considered learnable? A product is considered learnable if the user interface has been designed so that beginners can easily start using the product without a lot of training. For example, learnable interfaces should be free of clutter and have a simplistic design. Users should be able to understand the flow of navigation to complete a task. Regular features should be universal, such as icons. And through continued use, users should be able to progressively learn more advanced features. Why is this important to engineers? As an engineer, it is important to consider these issues early on in the design process to help lower production costs, shorten production times, and prevent safety issues during the design and manufacturing process. Before finalizing a design, it is important to do background research to ensure you have a learnable design for the user. But how would you go about that? First, it is important to determine your target user base. This is done by conducting user research to identify likely users. This research will help you understand their history of technology use, understand how sophisticated to make the system, and will reveal what kinds of tasks that users perform. This information can be collected through surveys or interviews. Here is an example of a website design that may be difficult for the user to learn how to use. What are some problems you notice? First, the contact features are difficult to understand because they are not the typical icons users are familiar with. Second, the navigation tabs are not organized well, making it difficult for users to find the information they need. Third, the layout is inconsistent, making it difficult to scan the page. Finally, there is a lot of clutter between the extra images and navigation features. Now, here is a more learnable website design. To design a learnable product, it is important to create a simple user interface that users can easily navigate. To achieve this goal, there are 4 simple design principles you can implement. 1. Easy to understand features. The design should use common elements for basic features that are familiar to your users. 2. Simple navigation. You want the users to expend the least amount of effort to complete a task. The navigation should have good task flow to prevent users from getting lost in the design. 3. Consistency. By maintaining a consistent layout, the users will have an easier time finding important information. Free of clutter. There should be a good balance between unused white space, text, and images. There should also not be any redundant features. This will allow for easier scanning. Now that you understand your user base and have designed your product using the previously discussed principles, you need to actually test how well your users can learn your product. There are 4 measures you can use to test how learnable your product is: effectiveness, efficiency, satisfaction, and lastly, errors. Effectiveness is the number of features learned, or the number of users who successfully learned and used the product. If users are not able to learn the features provided, then your product serves no purpose. Efficiency is the time it takes someone to learn how to use the product. If it takes a long time for your users to learn your product, they will grow bored or frustrated with it, and as a result they will not use it. Satisfaction is the level of enjoyment or helpfulness the product creates for the user. By meeting your users' needs, you create a feeling of satisfaction which leads to them using your product more. Errors are the number of mistakes made when trying to complete a task. In this example, the error is the user not being able to accurately fly a drone. Other errors could consist of the user not noticing an element, taking a long time to complete the task, or fail to complete the task altogether. If there is a high number of errors made, then your product is difficult to use, making it less learnable. Learnability is not a measure of one point in time, but rather a person's development over a longer period of time. To test the learnability of your product, it helps to look at the user's knowledge of how to use it before and after they have interacted with it. This is done by giving the user an application test, letting them use the product, and then giving them a second application test. Finally, you want to compare your participants' results from each application test. To sum everything up, learnability is a design principle in which a product is designed for users to quickly learn to use without extensive training. The design should be focused around the group of people that will most likely use your product. To ensure the product is learnable, it should use universal features, a simple navigation, have a consistent layout, and be free of clutter. It is important to test how learnable your product is before and after use.